Welcome, everyone, to the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland Browns and NFL pregame show. I'm your host. I'm Chad Bryan. With me is Ryan Mossor. And this week we have a brand new addition to the panel. Please help me welcome TK Dandridge. Ryan and TK, man, how you guys feeling?
Dude, I'm doing good, man. Excited for some football today.
Feeling real good. Hoping for a big day from our Brownies. A big one indeed.
Yeah. Hey, biggest line in the NFL this week, not in a good way. So here we go. It's Browns at Ravens. It's week 2. Let's just get right into it, man. Look, I think maybe not the biggest storyline for the Browns, but I think a big one for the Ravens in this one. Both of these teams are trying to avoid an 0-2 start, right? You guys know it's not good. Teams that start 0-2, and it may be a little bit different. The data is going to be different now that there's 17 games. It's a little different than the 16-game schedule. I know that. But historically, teams that start 0-2 have just an 11.5% chance of making the playoffs. Now, some of us, like me, have the Ravens going to the AFC Championship game. So for a team that's in that position, that's not really good news. I mean, I don't think that really matters so much to the Browns. I know we're not looking at this season as a throwaway. I think the Browns defense showed you last week against the Bengals. They can do some things. They can keep this team in some games. They're going to have to do some things differently. I think the current line on this one is 11.5. The Ravens are 11.5 point favorite. Over under is sitting at about 44.5 points. So what do you guys think? I mean, I think I know the answer to this one. TK, I'll start with you. I mean, is this the 0-2 start? Is it more important for the Browns or the Ravens to avoid here?
To be quite honest with you, an 0-2 start is obviously more important to the Cleveland Browns. You have to think with the limited ammunition that the Baltimore Ravens have. Obviously having one of the dangerous weapons in all sports. And Lamar Jackson is your quarterback. Derrick Henry seems to be turning back the clock somewhat. That offensive line looked fantastic against the Buffalo Bills last week. Got to give a big shout out to the interior of that offensive line, specifically Andrew Voorhees, the left guard, Tyler Lindemann, the center, and Daniel Falele, the right guard. They did a wonderful job opening up holes for that running game. Not like they really needed it. I mean, Derrick Henry had 200 yards. Lamar Jackson added another 40 of his own and a touchdown. They just look great. For us as a team, as a young team with an older quarterback, I think it is much more important to us to avoid the 0-2 start because of the lack of ammunition that we have. Now, granted, we are excited about the rookies that we have. Obviously, getting Quinshon Judkins back today should be a huge piece. But I definitely think this is going to be a much bigger game for Cleveland.
Okay, fair enough. Ryan, I mean, how do you feel? I'm just looking at it as, the Ravens have expectations, right? Yeah. The Browns just want to get through 17 games and see what happens. I don't think anybody's expecting anything from the Browns. I think internally, I don't think you ever as a player go into a season and go, hey, we're going to tank the season and just try to get a couple – because you don't know how your career is going to go. You don't know that you're going to be there that next season, right? So I don't think anybody on that 53-man roster is going to look at this as like, hey, this is a throwaway season for me. It's when you're in it, like every season is ultra important. You only get so many years to play in the NFL. It's not like guys can play 20, 25, 30 years and then, Tom Brady's whatever. We're not going to talk about him, but he's clearly a vampire. So that's some Twilight stuff there. Am I allowed to say Twilight? I just said it. So I don't know. In my mind, I feel like it's a little more important for the Ravens to avoid the 0-2 start. But to TK's point, I think they have the weapons to come back from that. They just have to be careful. The Ravens are kind of a better team playing from behind. I think maybe for the Ravens to avoid that 0-2 start, they just don't have a lead in the fourth quarter against the Browns today. What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, honestly, I think this is a bigger game for the Ravens. I mean, I'm a very literal person. I see what the Browns are, Unfortunately, this is not going to be our year. We have one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. And the Ravens should have won that game last week if there wasn't just a couple plays, Derrick Henry fumbling the ball late in the game, punting to Josh Allen and giving the ball and giving the chance back. Like there's just a couple small things where the Ravens should have won this game and they didn't. That being said, the Browns should have won the game last week as well. I mean, we were, negative 4 points from the kicker and only lost by a point. Both interceptions should have been avoidable. Just catch the ball. Don't let it bounce off you. Simple as that. But to your point, Chad, you said, the players aren't going to play to lose. They're going to play to win. But unfortunately for us, I don't think that Andrew Berry has put the team in the right position to win by adding the right pieces. They're going to play with their hair on fire. They're going to play naive. They're going to be naive. They're going to play. They're out there talking their talk, I guess, which I think is a huge mistake personally, with Grant Delpit talking about Derrick Henry, in saying, he it's not going to be hard to tackle him. And then Henry came back and said, yeah, we'll see, starting, a little fuel to the fire. Then Judy obviously talking about their secondary and saying there's absolutely no challenges there, which is just dumb to say. So, I think the Ravens, obviously they have more goals for this season. They're obviously, they have a chance to make the playoff. They have a chance to make the Super Bowl. I don't see the Browns doing that, but I don't know. We'll see. I think that, it's important to think for the Browns standpoint too. 0-2 might not be awful, considering we have those 2 first-round picks. I'm not saying I want to lose. I'm not saying we're looking to the future, but it is what it is. So
yeah, agreed. I know some guys that are going to be wearing black and purple today that are probably going to disagree with some of the notions that have been coming out from some Browns players. Yeah. Hey, listen, I love confidence. There's nothing wrong with having some confidence.
Not at all.
Sometimes in the NFL and maybe in any competitive, when guys are going to hear what you're saying, maybe quiet confidence is the best way. Whatever. We'll see how that plays out. I do want to, before we get into anything else, I do want to add that maybe adding some fuel to the fire for some of these Browns players is the fact that Baltimore, listen, it's their home opener, but the timing seems odd. They're having a 30-year celebration, right? 30 years with the Ravens. Basically, it's 30 years since they stole the Browns from Cleveland. They're having a whole celebration. They were going to make a scene about it. The timing's a little odd. Do you think, Ryan, they did this on purpose? Is this to kind of poke at Cleveland a little bit, or is it just the home opener, move along, nothing to see here, stay behind the caution tape? No worries.
This decision by the Baltimore Ravens was absolute garbage. They did it intentionally. They did it to stick to the fans. They did it, hey, we have Super Bowls over here from your old team, and, you're not going to let Odell in, but, oh, well, guess what? We're going to rub it in your face. It's tacky. It's classless. They could have absolutely switched it up. The 30-year anniversary is not even really until next season. They're just talking about how many games they played or whatever. It's really dumb. Also noting that Joe Flacco is going to be a huge part of the celebration. Clearly, he won a Super Bowl with the Ravens, and he's also going to be our starter today. So it's a weird dynamic. They did it intentionally, and I think it's just really tacky.
Yeah, it's his first start back in Baltimore since he's been not a Raven. So. Right. TK, you agree? It looked like you agreed with that. You agree with Ryan on that one?
I absolutely 110,000% agree. They knew exactly what they were doing when they made this matchup. They want to tap dance all over our city. Right. This is exactly what it is. We've been terrible forever since we came back, and they want to continue to tap dance all over the city. What I want to say, though, for these players that are going to go out there and play this game today, that is not your purpose to worry about that. A lot of you cats weren't even born when we were getting moved to Baltimore. What I need you gentlemen to focus on today is your own mortality. You are 0-1. In a lot of realms, you should be 1-0. But mistakes and obviously the inevitable choke at the end is what did us in. I want you guys to understand something. You need to think of the city. You need to think of the fans that show up for this team every single autumn, every Sunday. You need to understand that this is not about the Baltimore Ravens trying to make fun of us. This is not about how many people doubt us. This is not how many people clown us. We need to show the world that we can compete and that we can compete while attempting to rebuild. That is a word that I am so sick and tired of this franchise using. We do not do them correctly anyway. You need to show that you can compete while trying to fix your team at the same time. No more of these tankathons. No more 3-13, 0-16, 1-15. No more of that. You guys need to go down here, and you don't leave M&T Bank Stadium without a W today.
Yeah,
you let them have their jokes and whatever it is. I'm sorry to cut you off, Chad. I'm just really emotional about this.
That's okay.
You let them get it out. Jokes, whatever the hell fun they want to have. You make sure that you put that fun to a halt at least for today. Yeah. And then you must continue on for the rest of the season. You need to compete while you're trying to rebuild. No more tankathons. We're done with it. We are done with it.
Agreed. I think it would feel really good for the Browns to walk out of there, putting the Ravens down 0-2 to start the season. But I was going to say, TK, you're talking about a rebuild. The Browns have done this so many times. They use different words. It's a retooling. It's a reshuffling of the roster. It's a re-regime. It's a rebuild. It's always redoing something. Yeah. Except for repeating as division champions. We haven't done that once yet. So
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I agree. Listen, we're going to move on because let's talk about last week's game a little bit. We kind of mentioned it briefly, and we know some of the negatives, right? David Njoku was a little bit limited in his production. I think we were all excited to see Flacco to Njoku last week. That connection was pretty electric in 2023. We talked about that. Jerry Jeudy had 3 drops after leading the league last year and drop passes. That was alarming. Listen, they're going to happen, but like I said, it's a tough pill to swallow after seeing him lead the league last year. DeJuan Jones had a few things to clean up, had a couple penalties here and there. I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. But the biggest one was the kicking game. It was Schmitty, right? It wasn't very good. We know the missed field goal, the missed extra point. I'm not going to drone on that. But let's talk about some of the positives because honestly, speaking of our guy, Joe Flacco, of the Ravens ex-guy, Joe Flacco, he looked pretty good last week.
Yeah.
He didn't look like a 40-year-old quarterback to me. He was making some nice throws. I know people are on him about the interceptions, but I'm like, if you watch the game, I mean, those
neither one of them were on him.
Yeah, they hit a receiver's hands first. I mean, you can't really fault him for that. You can't really say much about the interceptions, really, about as far as Joe Flacco goes. Maybe, I don't know, maybe threw a little bit more that the Browns really wanted to. He was 31 of 45 for 290 yards and a touchdown. I don't know if they want him throwing the ball 45 times a week. I don't know if he can sustain that. My heart might have stopped a little bit when he took off down the sideline and ran and picked up a first down, but I was like, oh no, not already. Okay. And listen, the running game was pretty bad, but I thought they were creative in how they used Dylan Sampson. I thought that was really, the screens and little flare. I thought they were really creative in how they kind of, you use the short passing game as a running game when you can't find any room between the tackles, right? You have to do that. And absolutely creative there. That's got to get better. And Cedric Tillman caught 5 passes for 52 yards and a touchdown. His thumb seems better. Harold Fannin Jr. set a rookie record for receptions for a tight end, along with Tyler Warren. He did the same with 7 catches as well. There were some positives. Ryan, what were your positive takeaways from last week?
Yeah, the Browns had a total of 339 yards compared to the Bengals 159 yards. That's a huge positive. The defense held Jamar Chase to 2 catches for 26 yards, held T. Higgins to 3 catches for 33 yards, and Chase Brown ran the ball 21 times for only 43 yards and a touchdown. That's 2.05 yards per carry. I think the defense played phenomenally, especially against this offense that's supposed to be a powerhouse, that has, debatably the 1-2 punch in Higgins and Chase, maybe the top receiver in the NFL. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks, and we held them pretty well. I mean, 159 total yards for that offense is something to brag about for sure. Kevin Stefanski kept us in this game too, to the very end, which, was my biggest issue was, this game was not on Stefanski at all. There was just a few misplays, like you said, a couple missed kicks, but overall Stefanski had a great game coached. Myles Garrett had 2 sacks. Outside of the first drive, the defensive line looked phenomenal. There are a lot of positives from this game, and I was surprised. So, I called it a 1-point game last week. Yes. I didn't think it was this low scoring, but, even when I said a 1-point game, I didn't really believe it. I thought the Bengals were going to win quite considerably. So the fact that our defense held them that much is very promising.
Yeah. TK, what about you? I know you took some positives away. I know you're a little emotional, but something had to make you happy last week watching that game.
I feel like me and Ryan are going to be on the same page about a lot of things here. I thought the defense was absolutely beautiful last week. Yeah. The big one for me, those 2 corners. The way Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome, the second, locked down the perimeters was absolutely beautiful. You hold the best receiver in the game to 26 yards on 2 receptions. I thought the defensive line was absolutely beautiful. Myles Garrett looked like Lawrence Taylor in 1986. Once he finally decided to stop playing patty cake with Orlando Brown Jr., he was able to get in the backfield. He was able to chase down Shiesty once he got out of the pocket as well. Made a couple of nice plays. I love the play from Isaiah McGuire, 6 total tackles, 1 sack, 2 additional quarterback hits. Also had a pass deflection, got his hands on the football once. The guy was all over the mix, all up in Shiesty's grill for the better half. Gave Marius Mims a tough go, Bengals right tackle. Carson Schlesinger was very good. I definitely think this kid's going to be an all-pro in our defense. Yes. 8 total tackles, including the all-inspiring hit stick that he had on Chase Brown in the third quarter, which led to a 40-yard Evan McPherson field goal. listen, this defense is going to be elite. If the offense doesn't completely screw everything up for us, this should be a top 5 unit across the league. Myles Garrett should go ahead and register that 20-plus sack season that we've been waiting for him to have since 2019. I definitely think he has a chance to do that this year, especially with some added help. You'll love what Mason Graham was able to do in that fourth quarter. Quiet as a church mouse through those first 3, managed to bend the pocket, collapse it down a little bit. Some of the fourth quarter had 3 assisted tackles, no solos for the young rookie so far, but those will come. You got to remember some of the best defensive tackles average 20 tackles a season. So I'm not worried about tackles. You do not need to be putting up linebacker numbers. I understand it's nice to have a defensive tackle that can make all those tackles, but your job is simple. You are to defend the run and collapse the pocket. That is exactly what Mason Graham did for the better majority of that game. Malik Collins, the veteran signing that we had in this offseason, did pretty much the same thing. Devin Bush and Jerome Baker were pretty solid once they were on the field, helping the linebacker core out a little bit. I think everybody on that defense did a little bit of everything. Grant Delpit was solid. Ronnie Hickman was excellent in his first NFL start. Rashawn Jenkins filling in for that slot corner role. I was so glad that they got Greg Newsome out of that slot. Boy, howdy. They were limited him so bad. He needs to be on that boundary. He needs to be on that opposite boundary.
He showed that.
To be able to shut down some of the elite passing offenses like we did last week. It should be the same. It should be the same ordeal this week. It definitely should.
Yeah. Hey, listen, here's where my mind goes as a Browns fan. You said patty cake. I thought Baker's man. And if you're a Baker's man, you know Baker's an MVP candidate. We could be in a completely different situation right now. But anyway, it's neither here nor there right now. I thought, the Browns dominated the time of possession in this game. I mean, if you look at the stats, you look at the team stats, play, whatever. The Browns should have won, right? They should have won the game. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. I mean, they played really well against – we don't know what the Bengals are going to be. The Bengals could be a good to great team. The Bengals could be a little below average to average. We don't know yet. That's the fun about week 1. And now it's week 2. We'll move on. We'll turn the page. Doesn't matter anymore. We've got to move on, right? And this week's challenge, I think, is going to be a little bit different for that defense. I mean, we talked about Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry and company. Just a little bit different animal than Joe Burrow and Chase Brown. I think nothing against Chase Brown, but, despite what Grant Delpit says, I think Derrick Henry is a little bit tougher to tackle than Chase Brown. We'll see if Schwarzenegger gets a hit stick on Derrick Henry in this one or not, or if, we can even bring him down on this one. He's going to be motivated to come in. But let me ask you real quick, TK, can the Browns realistically, how can they stop Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews? Mark Andrews always seems to find a way against the Browns. Say what you want about the drops in the playoffs or whatever. Andrews has some issues there. But against the Browns, he's been very, very good in his career. Can they realistically stop this offense or slow them down or hope to hold them to 17 points or whatever? Can they do that this week?
Well, I definitely think it's going to be a tough task to, mitigate or contain the Ravens' offense. But I do think that it can be done. You have guys on this team that have played Lamar Jackson a number of times. Myles Garrett is going to have to be that spy. Isaiah McGuire is going to have to do a little bit of that as well. You might ask something from the linebackers as far as a spy goes. But what we need to do is we need to be able to focus on first and foremost that running game, because they're gonna figure out how to work the seams on this. Mark Andrews is going to be open, I think, for not necessarily open, but he's going to make things happen in the seams. He's a very, very good inside-outside guy. He lines up everywhere. So I honestly think the first thing you need to take into consideration is the run game, because you have 2 outstanding threats in both Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. You have to key on these guys, and especially if you're going to go run your mouth about how easy it is to tackle him. He better not get more than 75 yards today. He's so easy. So
9.4 yards per carry against Buffalo is not a good omen, but hey,
it's very scary watching.
Here we go.
It really was.
What's funny is that all the success he's had in the NFL, he still hasn't even come close to reaching his rushing yard total from high school, which I know obviously different competition.
Right.
That's insane. 12,000 plus yards in high school is crazy. Guy's just a football player. It's amazing. The one thing before I get to you, Ryan, speaking about Derrick Henry, he hasn't run for fewer than 10 touchdowns in a season since I think his first 2 seasons in the NFL. Went for 5 touchdowns in both of those seasons. I don't know that he was necessarily the main back then. During that time, he's only missed the 1,000-yard mark once. He went 2021. I think he only played 8 games. He broke his foot, but he still ran for 937 yards and 10 touchdowns that season. So for me, I don't know. I don't know if I would necessarily be saying that. whatever. I wouldn't. I don't mean to be on Grant Delpit. I'm not trying to say, he shouldn't have said something, but I wouldn't have said anything. But that's just me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ryan, what do you think about this offense and the Browns' realistic possibility of they do pretty well against Lamar Jackson as far as keeping him in the pocket and not letting him get out and create. The defense seems to be better. I mean, is that a realistic expectation for today's game?
So I wrote down the only way that we can stop Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is if we get a time machine and go to Pompano Beach, Florida, January 7th, 1997, and Yulee, Florida, January 4th, 1994, when these guys were born, and try to convince their parents that they should be accountants. That's the only way we're going to stop Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson from running all
That's
over.
pretty creative as far as defensive schemes go. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It could happen. You never know. But time machine, that's the only way. Go back to Florida, split a few years, and maybe we'll stop them. They could be accountants, not football players. I mean, they're the best running duo in the NFL. I'm not sure if it's even close. I mean, Lamar Jackson, the last 2 seasons, had 812 and 915 rushing yards. That's insane. That's literally another running back who can just chuck the ball downfield. Last year, Henry, the week 8, we held him to 73 yards and a touchdown on 11 carries. Obviously, we'd want to replicate that. I'd consider that a win if we had that this week. Week 18, he had 138 yards and 2 touchdowns on 20 carries. That's the opposite. So, yes, I've seen this defense stop him. 73 yards and a touchdown is not really stopping him, but nonetheless.
Slow him down.
I guess the keys to stop him just is the defensive line and the linebacker's shoulders, as TK said. This defensive line's got to play smart. We got to spy Lamar. I think, Mason Graham is supposed to be this run-stopping defensive lineman, defensive tackle. Well, get ready, bucko. Like, this is your first actual test. Like, you want to stop the run, stop Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like the positive that, like TK said, I mean, it seemed to take him about 3 quarters to get acclimated. Sure. But hey, if it only takes him 3 quarters into week 1 to get acclimated into the defense, then, maybe that's a positive sign. Maybe he'll be ready to go today. I don't know that he won't be. But that could be positive, right?
Yeah, for sure. Also, Carson's going to be relentless. It's going to be a huge challenge for him, but I have high confidence in the rookie linebacker. There was a quote I saw this week about him playing the Ravens. He said, I think regardless of whoever I'm playing, not stopping until the whistle is blown in my mind. I'm not going to stop until the whistle's blown. Even then, sometimes I'm even going to go until, are you sure the whistle's blown? But especially now, make sure that regardless of what's happening, you keep going no matter what. That's the tenacity of this dude. He's going to play with his hair on fire, and he's going to go out there, and it doesn't matter who's against. He's going to go out there, and he's going to go to try to lay that dude out. Lamar Jackson, doesn't matter. Don't, break down a little bit. Make sure you get the tackle. You don't want to whiff. These guys are very shifty, but I have high confidence in this linebacker for sure. So
yeah, 2 different guys, totally. And you got to bracket Lamar Jackson a little bit. You got to kind of surround him and keep him contained. Derrick Henry, you just have to lay down and hope for the best. Maybe he'll trip over your jersey or something. That would be my approach anyway. Speaking of Schlesinger, do you think they'll use him more in trying to stop that run, and do you think he'll be on Mark Andrews? I mean, he's a pretty good cover linebacker as far as that goes, or at least he was in college. I think the expectation when they brought him in is that he would be able to do a little bit of both. Right. I don't know if they necessarily had the Ravens, exactly in mind when it came to that, when it comes to bringing him in. But do you think? Brian, what do you think? Do you think he's used more in pass defense today, or kind of coming up against the run? I mean, how do you think he's used today?
I expect him to be in pass defense first. Just use your keys, read, and react, and that's the kind of guy he is. He's very intelligent. Mm-hmm. I think he's competent in the pass game. He's definitely going to be the guy who we want on Mark Andrews. But like I said, read and react. He'll be near the ball regardless if it's in the air or on the ground. I think that just letting him go out and play, like I said, he's a quarterback of the defense. He's got the green sticker. He's got a lot on his plate for week 2, but I have confidence in this kid that he's going to play well. So
yeah, and like you said, the quarterback of the defense, it's amazing. Like even for a team that doesn't have super high expectations, I think that's amazing for a rookie in week 1 to come out and they're trusting him. Not a safety who's been here for a while, but typically that's going to be your middle linebacker. But it's awesome that they're trusting him with that. TK, what are your thoughts on? Schlesinger, he could have a really big game today, or he could have a lot of trouble today, depending on which way it goes. Where are you? Where's your head at on this?
For me, I just honestly think this is the next big test for Carson Schlesinger. I think he's going to be a jack of all trades type of guy. They want him to defend the run. They want him to defend the pass, rush the passer. They want him to do everything. And we need it as well, especially with a void linebacker core that we have. We're going to need contributions from all of these guys, especially from the front seven. We're going to need it from Myles Garrett, Isaiah McGuire, Malik Collins, Mason Graham, Carson Swashinger, Devin Bush, Jerome Baker, whatever snaps you guys get, make sure that they are valuable because we will need you. Mohamed Diabate as well. So I honestly think they're going to ask him to do a lot of things. They may line him up against Mark Andrews at first. They may switch it. They may put Rashawn Jenkins on him. They probably might go ahead and put Grant Delpit on him. Keep him out of the box a little bit. But there's going to be a lot of players doing a lot of different things this game. Nobody's going to be doing one set thing for this entire game. We have got to keep things changing, got to keep things turning, just to keep them on their toes a little bit, just so they can look at our defense and, try to guess what they can get away with. And we'll just have to be Johnny on the spot every trip. We're going to need contributions from everyone today. But Carson Swashinger, I definitely see a jack of all trades role today.
Okay. Sure. I agree. I think you got to throw a lot of different looks at a guy like Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's a 2-time MVP, threw for 41 touchdowns last season, just 4 interceptions. It's not like, he doesn't get confused in the pocket easily, right? He's a guy that, I mean, we've said it. If you overrush, he's going to step up and get outside and either run the ball very successfully, or he's going to get outside and make a play in the passing game. I mean, he's really good. I think he's gotten better at keeping his eyes upfield. You just see the results every year. He's gotten better, and I don't know. It terrifies me a little bit. I know the Browns have had some success with kind of, I don't want to say stopping him, but slowing him down and kind of, I don't know, bracketing his game a little bit, not letting him get out and make a ton of plays. But I feel like, again, coming off the loss, the way they lost last week in week 1, I feel like the Ravens are going to be motivated for a lot of different reasons. We talked about the home opener. It's always exciting to be going, in front of the home crowd for the first time of the season, right? The celebration, I don't know that, the Browns maybe, I don't know, maybe that fires the Browns up a little more than the Ravens, but I think the Ravens are going to have something there too. I just think there's a lot of factors that I don't know if they make me nervous going into this game because, again, expectations are what they are for the Cleveland Browns this season. Right. We know that. It's a reload Bill Tool thing season. Well, we don't know. We were going to make up a term and we'll just do a mashup term and we'll make it. That's the Browns thing. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things that could really go wrong in this game. I think there's a lot of things that could go right. They showed you last week what they can do against a pretty prolific passing attack, and they hit Joe Burrow. They got to him. I mean, even they didn't sack him a ton of times, but they hit him a lot. And I think it's going to be a little harder to get in and hit Lamar Jackson like that. Joe's a great quarterback, but he's not nearly as mobile as Lamar. So there are going to be some challenges there. But yeah, I think, like you said, throw a lot of different looks at him, have a lot of guys in a lot of different roles. They're going to have to rely on this defense this week to do some things again. Because, I mean, we'll see what the offense can do, but they've got to look better. The special teams has to look better. I don't know. I'm sure that they're aware of those things, and they're addressing them during the week in practice. But Derrick Henry, 18 carries for 169 yards, 2 touchdowns. I can't see Derrick Henry averaging 9.4 yards per carry in this game, and the Browns having a lot of success because the Ravens, they were forced to throw the ball a little bit last week. Obviously, they'd come back. If Derrick Henry averages 9.4 yards per carry, I mean, he could have 25, 30 carries against the Browns this week.
Not good.
That's not good. I'm getting Tim Biaka-Batuka vibes here, man. Like, I don't want to see like a 300-yard, 4-touchdown game or whatever. So it could get out of hand really quickly if they don't find a way to slow those guys down and at least, keep the offense off the field. I think you got to, maybe as the Browns offense, you have to move a little more deliberately, and you've got to watch the drop passes. You've got to keep your offense on the field. You got to pick up first downs. Just got to really concentrate on catching the football. Listen, we're going to take a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to go around the NFL a little bit. We're going to look at some of the matchups. We'll take a look at Packers Commanders from Thursday, just real quick. Again, not going to get too far into it because we've got a ton of matchups this week, no bye week. So everybody's playing week 2. But again, we're going to take a break, and we will be back on the Inside Edge Network in just a moment. And we are back on the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland Browns NFL pregame show. Again, talking about week 2. I wanted to bring something up with you guys real quick. Maybe, I don't know, in an effort to stir the pot a little more in this one that's already pretty emotionally charged. Adam Schefter this morning. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. Looked like the Ravens maybe were interested in drafting Shedeur Sanders. But apparently before the Ravens were able to turn in the card to make the selection, Sanders said that he wasn't interested in being drafted by Baltimore. Didn't want to go to Baltimore and be Lamar Jackson's backup. What do you make of that, Ryan? Does that mean anything today or no?
I mean, not today. During the draft, maybe. I mean, we saw how far he fell with in the draft, especially what he was projected to be drafted. I mean, you'd think that if a guy fell to the 5th round and someone wants to draft him, you would be like, oh yeah, heck yeah, I'll go learn behind Lamar Jackson. Heck yeah, I'll go play for the Ravens, a winning organization. Obviously, he thinks that he's better than that. He thinks he deserves a starting spot. We'll see. I mean, I think he's in a great opportunity for this team to possibly, eventually take over. We have a 40-year-old quarterback and another rookie as the backup. It's anyone's game. Fortunately for the Browns, like I said last week, we have a 1-year window for these rookies to see if we have a future quarterback, and if not, the Browns are inevitably going to draft the position high in the draft next year. So, I mean, eventually I could see where, obviously Flacco is not the guy. We need to get those guys in there as soon as possible, but also they're worried about winning. So, you want to expect that early in the season. But there is a timeline. We have 1 year. We got to figure it out. And I like Shedeur. I see some promising things. I also see some things that he needs to work on. And right now he's 3rd in the depth chart. He's got to beat out another rookie. And, you can't really do that if you don't get on the field. So.
For sure. TK, I think Ryan said it best. It doesn't really matter in the game today. I guess could stir some emotions, I guess. I mean, athletes can use anything to kind of motivate themselves. Maybe if you hear this and he's not even playing, but if you hear this and you're a Ravens player, you're on the 53-man roster, you might go, I don't know. It kind of makes me want to play a little bit harder because, I don't know. Does it matter? I don't think it matters.
Honestly, it doesn't matter because it's common sense. You were never going to get on the field ever, not even to hand him water. Okay, yeah. So this game, you're not going to have any input on that whatsoever. It was a good thing that he actually wanted to come to Cleveland. He wants a shot to be able to compete to be a starter. It won't be this year because I'm honestly hoping that we at least attempt for a spot in the tournament this year. So I'm hoping that Joe can play about 17. I know that's a steep order. I know we've seen Aaron Rodgers do it, and it wasn't that pretty. Granted, his stats were. The results in the box score were not. But we're definitely hoping for something different, something better. So hopefully we can get this whole season with Joe. And we can work on the kids next year. That's what I'm hoping for.
I agree with you. I think maybe that statement or that what I want to say, that line of thought by Shedeur Sanders is partly confidence and wanting to go somewhere else and compete and just being realistic and knowing that Lamar is never going to be off the field. I mean, there's not a chance where he's going to go beat out Lamar in the next 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, obviously you come to Cleveland and there's a chance to get on the field with the quarterback situation being what it is for the last 357 years.
Yeah.
Or so. I may have exaggerated and rounded up a bit, but I think when you come to Cleveland, you've got a better chance. And listen, nothing wrong with being confident in yourself, and nothing wrong with being realistic about your abilities and about your chances either. I think you go to a place like Baltimore as a quarterback, and unless you're okay with being a career backup, it's kind of a place for your career to just go maybe fizzle a little bit behind Lamar Jackson. So
wouldn't go there if I were you.
Yeah, I thought maybe that was a smart move. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's like I said, something that was reported the morning of the game. Not sure maybe the players are on their phones. I mean, it's a different time, different age. I mean, they might see that and scroll by and see that and think something of it or think nothing of it. I have no idea. But I just thought that was interesting. But like I said, we're going to get around the NFL. Let's talk about the Thursday night game, okay? Packers beat the Commanders 27-18. I thought, looking at the Packers, they're my pick to go to the Super Bowl from the NFC this year. They've got some things going on for them. Josh Jacobs looks legit as far as like a red zone threat for them, right? He extended his franchise record for touchdowns scored in a game to, I think it's 10 games now. Tucker Kraft had his first 100-yard game, 6 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. all of a sudden, like Jordan Love is starting to move the ball around. The Packers look pretty dynamic on offense, not scoring a ton of points, but they look like they've got just any number of weapons. I think at one point, Jordan Love had completed 6 passes in the game, and they were all to 6 different receivers. You love to see that from a younger guy. He's not a super seasoned, grizzled veteran. He's not been around for a while. I think you love to see that. And listen, hey, guess what? As the Browns fan, right? As Browns fans, we'll see the Packers next week. Right. Fellas, any concerns about the Packers coming into town next week?
Listen, man, they look super good right now. And the one thing that I want you to know about this team, whether it's offense, defense, or even special teams, everyone eats on this football team. You look at that defense against the Commanders on Thursday night. Micah Parsons getting to the quarterback. Rashawn Gary making things happen in the backfield. Devontae Wyatt getting some valuable snaps in, making plays happen. Got Isaiah McDuffie along with the starting defense and making plays on special teams. They have a 7th rounder in safety, Evan Williams, who's starting. And this kid makes plays. The interception that he had last week against the Lions when they were in the red zone, where he basically just blew off the launch pad, dove for the football, and ended up with it. I didn't even see him in the frame when he made that play. Yeah. They got a multitude of guys making plays. Obviously, Jordan Love is wonderful with distributing the football. You get a 124-yard game out of Tucker Kraft. He's not even your tight end one, and he had 124 yards and a touchdown Thursday night. Just shows you the ample amount of opportunities that this team makes for itself and that they capitalize on. Green Bay going to be tough to deal with the rest of this year, I guarantee it.
Yeah, Ryan. I mean, as Browns fans, again, you could be looking at 0-2 with the Packers coming to town next week. Now, if you have playoff aspirations, like TK clearly has, TK is talking about, hoping to get into the playoffs, hoping to see the Browns get in the playoffs. I don't think TK is going to get in the playoffs. I mean, no offense, man, but but yeah, I mean, if you're a Browns fan, you're looking, I don't know, we'll say reasonably, unreasonably, at a chance to be a playoff contender, maybe just to be on the in the hunt graphic. I mean, it's got to worry you with a real chance to start 0-3 here, right?
I mean, yeah, TK nailed it on the head. I mean, that defense is electric. They're amazing. And then they added Micah Parsons. Like, this defense is going to be an incredibly difficult defense to play against. Real quick, I'm a big fantasy guy. I have a fantasy football podcast. Tucker Kraft is this year's Trey McBride. He's absolutely going to be their number 1 tight end from now on, and he's going to be that good. He's going to be a top 5 to 7 tight end this year, and probably a perennial top 5 for years to come. Injuries obviously would ruin that if the case, but he's that good.
That's straight from the commissioner's couch, by the way. You can catch that show right here on the Inside Edge Network with Ryan Mossor and his coach. So make sure that. Hold that! Don't hold us to that. Hold Ryan. Hold me
to it. Yeah, Tucker Kraft's phenomenal. If you're not a tight end that's taken, in the first round, which the last 3 seasons tight ends have been, or a rookie tight end that is breaking out, it's harder for rookie tight ends to break out. Tyler Warren, I think, is going to do it this year. Obviously, Brock Bowers did it the year before. There are going to be tight ends that are breaking out, but they're highly drafted in the first round. Tucker Kraft was not highly drafted. I think he was a 4th round pick. I'm not certain. But it's going to take those guys a few years to make it into the league. Now that he's going to stay. He's a beast. I've been really high on him. I had high expectations this year. And like I said, I think he's going to play really well. My only concern with the Packers right now would just be the injury concerns. Jaden Reed hurt his foot. It just seems like their receivers, they have really, really dynamic receivers. Romeo Dobbs, Dontayvion Wicks, Christian Watson. But the problem is they always get hurt. So that could be an issue. Josh Jacobs is a beast. 2 years ago, everyone thought his career was dead. He signed with the Packers last year and had another fantastic year. So, I mean, I think that he's just going to continue. They're going to be a very hard team to beat for sure. That defense, like I said, that defense is probably going to be top 3 in the NFL this year, and they're just getting started. So.
Yeah, I mean, they made, Jaden Daniels was last year's, the big kind of breakout quarterback. Well, not breakout. I mean, he was highly drafted, but he had a huge year last year. They made him look pretty pedestrian in this one. I mean, threw for 200 yards and a couple of touchdowns, but it was too little, too late. I mean, it's in a comeback. I think when you throw for a bunch of yards in the fourth quarter, it's kind of, you look at it a little bit differently than if he had started out with like 175 yards in the first half. Right? So I don't know. Any concerns about Jaden Daniels in his second year? I mean, the sophomore slump loading for him, or no? Is that just that Packers defense?
I personally don't think so. I think that, he's electric. The guy is, everyone says top 5, top 3 quarterback. He was fantastic as a rookie last year, and he's just going to continue to. There's new pieces. Terry McLaurin sat out basically all the entire offseason. Austin Eckler got a season injury that he's going to be out the rest of the year. They just traded Brian Robinson Jr., so now they got Bill Krosky-Merritt, and so it's going to be a little struggle at the beginning, I think, till their offense can really get into the thick of things. But Deebo Samuel looks fantastic, and I think Jaden Daniels, is going to continue as Terry McLaurin just gets back up to speed. So
yeah. TK, he said, I do you have any concerns about listen, a lot was made about Daniels missing open receivers, but I think if you knew you had Micah Parsons bearing down on you, you might miss an open receiver here or there too. TK, you have any concerns about Daniels? Are you good on him or no?
Yeah, I definitely think he is a solid player. And the term sophomore slump gets thrown around quite a bit. I don't think it'll be the full-on sophomore slump, but he will have some decreases in production, I think. I think teams got a little bit of film on him. Everybody's a year older, year wiser. We're doing things like that. Plus, you look at some of the snaps during that game. There were a couple of missed assignments. There's actually a viral clip of Tyler Biadasz, their starting center, completely whiffing a block and Jaden getting nailed in the backfield. Right. Luckily, he got rid of the football. It wasn't complete, but I think he was targeting Zach Ertz. He was able to get the football off in time before he could get sacked. So, I honestly think it's just a matter of time. I do think it's still early. Like I said in an episode before, they're still missing some key offensive linemen. Remember, Sam Cosmi has the knee injury. He's going to be out for a significant period of time. They got Andrew Wiley in there as at right tackle. Just some things to work out. They should be fine, but a little bit of a different production is expected.
Yeah. You mentioned the hit in the back. Luckily he's got a long week to recover. I'm sure he felt that on Friday morning, but still have a couple extra days, maybe to soak in the ice tub or whatever it takes to get through that one. But that stuff hurts. Even with pads, the impact gets distributed, but man, that still hurts. Yeah, I don't know about me. I said sophomore slump. I don't know. I think as you put more football on film and, that gets around the league, I think, certain defensive, the defensive coordinators in this league obviously know what they're doing. You got some really, really good athletes on defense. I think it becomes, I don't want to say easier, but you kind of see things on film that are maybe tells. It's like, okay, if we give him this look or if we confuse him with this, whatever, you know what I mean? Like show blitz and back up into the zone. You can confuse certain quarterbacks with certain things. So I think he's just going to have to work through that. As they adjust to him, he'll have to adjust to those defenses. So TK, you texted me this morning and you said, hey, this week is wild in the NFL. We've got 4 matchups this week where the quarterbacks going head to head are former number 1 overall picks, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
That's insane. That's must-see TV.
Crazy.
That is crazy. So TK, I want to start with you because you've got some. You not only brought this to our attention and said, "Hey, we should pay attention to this," but you came up with some monikers for these matchups. I want to start right now. Let's start with Rams Titans. Okay, we've got Matt Stafford, who was the first overall pick in 2009, which feels like 100 years ago now. No offense to Matt Stafford. Against Cam Ward, who was the number 1 overall pick just last year. First of all, let's tell us your moniker for this matchup, and then we'll get into the game a little bit.
All right, here we got Old Yeller versus New Blood. First of all, we wanted to zoom in on the health of Matthew Stafford. Hopefully that back is going to hold up well. Did a decent job last week against the Rams. That offense only scored 14 points. He still looked very, very efficient with the football. Was able to throw a touchdown pass to Davis Allen, I think, sometime in the second quarter. What I am looking for the Los Angeles Rams is that offense going to step up. 14 points against a middle-of-the-road defense like the Texans. Not really excited about what they did as far as week 1. I actually have the Tennessee Titans winning this game. I thought the way that they played against the Broncos last week, that defense was unbelievable. They were everywhere on the field. I thought Roger McCreary played him a lovely game, had the interception in the third quarter of Bo Nix. They were constantly getting in that backfield, constantly in Nix's space. Had a wonderful, wonderful display of coverage. Not too many openings within that Denver wide receiver core, although Bo Nix was able to figure some things out. They were able to finally score and eventually win the game. The thing that you need from the Tennessee Titans, other than that wonderful defense to show up, you need the receivers to stop dropping the football. Cam Ward was 12 of 28 last week for 114
Sounds familiar.
yards. At least 8 of those were drops, and your number one wide receiver had 3 of them. Can't have Calvin Ridley dropping the football. Young guys like Elick, Ayumanor, I don't know how to pronounce that young man's name, the speedster from Stanford. I'm still having a hard problem pronouncing his last name. But they're working in the young guys, and they want to get this young receiver off the stuff. Got to catch the football. The defense shows up. The receivers catch the football. Cam continues to make plays. The Titans will win today.
I'm having PTSD from being a Browns fan. Sounds like we're talking about week 1 against the Bengals, man. It's awful. Rams are a 5.5-point favorite in this game. That's whatever. It is what it is. Ryan, what are your feelings on Rams Titans this week?
Yeah, Titans lost to the Broncos 20-12 last week, and that defense was really, really good. Probably one of the best in the NFL. One thing to note this week, Rams starting offensive lineman Kevin Dotson and Steve Avila are considered week to week. So that's something to consider. Could open some things up for Jeffrey Simmons, for Sweat to be effective this week for sure. Stafford I thought he looked great last week, 21 for 29, 245 passes and a touchdown. Also, Puka Nacua last week had 130 yards and a touchdown on 10 catches, which is really good. Puka Nacua is
so consistent.
Obviously the wide receiver 1, and then Devontae Adams as a wide receiver 2 is no easy task to cover as well, even at his age. Cam Ward looked great week 1. His receivers looked terrible week 1. As TK said, they looked really bad. Also, one thing to note, the Titans had 13 penalties for 131 yards in week 1, and Cam Ward was sacked 6 times for 50 yards. So if they have
got to clean both of those things up. Yeah.
Right. If they have any chance of winning, they're going to have to clean those up.
Yep.
For the rookie quarterback, I'm gonna take the Rams this game. I think it'll be close. But if they clean up the penalties, I could for sure see them winning this game. The Titans just catch the ball. So.
Fair enough. Let's go to Jaguars and Bengals. Trevor Lawrence, number 1 overall pick in 2021. Joe Burrow, number 1 overall pick in 2020. TK, what are we calling this matchup?
Got a little jungle boogie for you. First and foremost, I want to talk about the Jags. They definitely looked impressive against Carolina. You got what you wanted as far as a solid performance from Trevor Lawrence. Yes, the interception was bad, but if you go back and look at the tape and actually see the interception he threw, what a play by J.C. Horn, my goodness. Anyway, you get that. They look wonderful on defense. The offense looks solid. Granted, you want to score more touchdowns and field goals. Cam Little kicked 4 field goals in this game.
What's that like?
Yeah. But let's see here. Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, they played us last week. That offense struggled a ton, but I do not see them struggling again this week. They do not have the corner tandem that we have, do not have the defensive line that we have. No. I don't even think their linebackers are as good as ours are. They may be better. I do like Foye Oluokun. He's a very good player. For the Tennessee Titans, for the Cincinnati Bengals, I think the message is simple. We have got to wake up on offense. There is no way on God's green earth that we expect to win games week to week, averaging sub 160 in total yardage for every game. This offense has to get together. I think Travis Hunter might be matching up with Jamar Chase to start off. I think the Jaguars want to put him at defensive back for a little bit. Hey, what better way to test him out than against the best wide receiver in the NFL? Don't think it's going to go too good, but it's good that he gets the work in now. I got Cincinnati winning this game. Definitely comes down to Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins being exactly themselves. It's an up-and-coming young Jacksonville Jaguars team that's looking to do better, but I still think Cincinnati has the upper hand.
Okay. Well, Bengals are a 3.5-point favorite at home. Ryan, I mean, who do you feel? Are you leaning Bengals in this game, or how are you feeling on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning Bengals selfishly, of course, since we own the Jaguars' first overall pick next year, or first round pick. I clearly want them to lose. I think the Jaguars can pull off the upset, though. The Bengals' defense is not good. They got lucky with 2 boneheaded plays by our receiver where we just need to catch the ball and not let the defense take the ball away. The Bengals should be 0-1 going into this game. It's going to be an offensive battle, and whoever's defense makes the most stops is going to win. But I don't have confidence in either defense. I expect Brian Thomas Jr. He was a top 5 receiver last year as a rookie to have more than 1 catch for 11 yards. Travis Etienne has finally established himself as that lead running back for the Jaguars, especially after they traded away Tanks Bigsby. I expect him to continue to look good and maybe have the Josh Jacobs turnaround that we're seeing more often. Although I said that the Jaguars could pull out the upset, I am still taking the Bengals. Their offense is really, really good. Like TK said, I personally think that Travis Hunter is generational. I think he's and that's just a wide receiver. I think he's a fantastic wide receiver. But he's a very, very good corner too. And this is going to be a fun matchup just to watch in general to see if he can hang at corner in the NFL. And if not, if they'll transition him to more of just a prominent receiver role. I'm going to go Bengals win. Hopefully the Jaguars lose and we just continue to get a better pick. So that
I told you it would be. I told you it would be the most Browns thing ever, right? For Jacksonville to go 10-7 and the Browns to go 9-8 and miss the playoffs, and it's just
right.
There goes our rebuild, our reload, our retool, whatever we're going to call it. Our ridiculous, whatever. I want to skip over one because I want to go Bears-Lions. All right. We got Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick in 2024, against Jared Goff, the number 1 overall pick in 2016. TK, tell us what we're calling it first.
Well, Detroit has the Lions and Tigers, and Chicago has the Bears. So we're going to go ahead and call this one the Wizard of Oz Bowl.
So who's finding the yellow brick road, TK? What do you got on this one?
Got Detroit winning this one. They looked very sloppy Joe against the Green Bay Packers. Showed a little bit towards the end. They had a nice drive, a nice touchdown reception from Isaac Tesla in the corner of the end zone. That was a hell of a play. What you would like to see is exactly where this offense is heading. Are we completely lost now that Ben Johnson's gone? Or can we, signed by our new offensive coordinator, Johnny Morton, and make this thing jump similar to what we were last year? I think they have every opportunity in the world to do that. Chicago has a solid defense, but very much like us, they are still the Bears, and they will find a way to do something silly and end up losing the game. Hopefully that isn't their rhetoric for the entire season, but I do not see them going into Motown and leaving with a W. Got the Detroit Lions.
Something about the initial CB. I hope not, because that's me. But yeah, something about the initial CB, at least in the NFL, just finding a way to lose. I mean, just pulling defeat from the jaws of victory, no matter how tightly you've got, that victory grasped. I don't know. It's whatever. I think maybe with 2 new coordinators, you expected to see some sloppy play, maybe on both sides of the ball, at least week 1. Might take some time to get, for the Lions to get that kind of ironed out a little bit. The Bears are improved. I don't know how much improved they are, but Ryan, Bears Lions, what are you thinking in this one?
I mean, yeah, you said the Bears are improved. I mean, they completely catered this offense around Caleb Williams this year. Yeah. Something that they didn't do for Justin Fields just a few years ago, unfortunately. They rebolstered their offensive line. They brought in a first-round pick, tight end, and Colson Loveland. I mean, the receivers, they took Roman Duza the year before, and they're going to continue to bring these guys. I don't have 100% confidence in Williams yet. I still don't. I don't know. I like Jaden Daniels a lot more. I liked him last year too. I was made fun of quite a bit in fantasy, but it worked out great for me.
Okay. That's why you sit on the commissioner's couch, Ryan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think Detroit will bounce back in a huge way. I mean, they lost to an incredible defense with the Packers, 27-13 in week 1. Yeah. And like I said, the Packers might be one of the best defenses in the NFL. It'll be interesting because, like you said, Ben Johnson looked to be what the Lions looked like. I can't talk now. The Lions look to be very successful because of Ben Johnson. And now that he's gone, that was the first test to see, is Ben Johnson just going to make this offense with the Bears look incredible? We'll see. The Lions are stacked, and I expect them to set the Bears an example. Dan Campbell will have those guys ready for sure. That guy, he's like you said, he'll bite ankles if he has to. I'm excited.
Whatever, right? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. It was kneecaps. That's what it is. The Bears can win this game. They need to capitalize on the Lions' struggles to run the game. Gibbs ran the ball 9 times for 19 yards last week, and Gibbs is considered one of the best backs in the league. Yeah. So if you can stop Gibbs like the Packers did, you have a very good chance to win this game. Also, TK talked about Isaac Tesla. I freaking love Isaac Tesla so much. His nickname is Mayotron because he's like the white Calvin Johnson in Detroit. I love it. And I mean, he scored a touchdown. His touchdown was amazing. It was a great diving catch. It was in garbage time, but nonetheless, eventually you're going to have this guy be the wide receiver 3. I'm very excited about him. He's big, he's fast, and he played. I mean, I'm a Indians Guardians fan, and he reminds me of like Grady Sizemore back in the day. He was just the heart, he'll die, and that's a baseball player, but the heart, the diving, that the guy will just go get that ball. And I think Mayotron is going to be dominant. I drafted him like in 6 different leagues, and I'm going to reap that benefit. Very excited about Mayotron, Isaac Tesla. Real quick, continue to let Caleb Williams run the ball. Williams, threw 21 for 35, 210 yards and a touchdown. He also rushed 6 times for 58 yards, which I didn't think was a huge part of this game, especially in college. He fumbled a ton, but he looked great. Continue that. I think, just scheme him to run the ball, and I think it'll be great. And also limit penalties. The Bears had 12 penalties for 127 yards. That can't happen if you want to win the game. I think it's too early to hit the panic button for either team. They both have a lot of talent, but I'm going to take Detroit in this game. I think they stack up better, and they have the veteran in Goff. So
okay, I will take Detroit as well. They're a 6.5-point favorite at home at Ford Field. Tough to beat there. Yeah, I'll take Detroit as well. I think some people are going to get their kneecaps bitten. I was going to ask you if I could call Tesla electric, but you called him Mayotron, so I think all bets are off. I'm allowed to say that. I'll take the Lions in this one as well. And before we take a quick so sorry, I had an echo. I thought somebody was talking. I had an echo in my.
Oh, you're good. Me too.
Yeah, that was weird. But anyway, before we take another quick 2-minute break, I want to get to possibly my favorite name for a matchup that TK came up with as far as former number one quarterbacks go. We got the Panthers, which if you watch our NFL preview show, you know that TK is quite versed on Panthers knowledge. So we're going to know a lot about Carolina against the Cardinals, right? We got Bryce Young, former number 1 pick in 2023 against Kyler Murray. Number 1 pick in 2019. Some people have had their feelings about that, but whatever, he's number 1 pick. TK, please tell me your name for this matchup. It's possibly my favorite.
We're going to go ahead and call this one Short, Black, and Gifted Part 2. We have 2 of the shortest quarterbacks in the NFL who happen to be black and extremely gifted. We're going to go ahead and get into the Carolina Panthers first. Definitely a rough showing in Duval against the Jaguars. I thought Bryce Young looked very inefficient at times. I definitely think he was a victim of the circumstances around him. First and foremost, Boston quarterback had a terrible game as their starting center. A number of errant snaps. Bryce Young failed to mention it during the press conference. I know this is being a good teammate, nothing wrong with that. You got a lot of problems with the receiver now. You still got Hunter Renfrow coming back out of retirement. He still needs a little more time to get acclimated. Xavier Legette looks lost. Out there on the field. Bryson Tremaine received a ton of snaps out of nowhere. I definitely thought some guys in that receiving corps that could have helped out a ton would have been David Moore, the veteran, and Jimmy Horn Jr., the rookie from Colorado. Neither one of those guys got any snaps. Hoping to get those guys out there soon. The offensive line struggled a little bit as a whole. Josh Nijman got the start for Ike Ekwonu, who was out with an appendectomy surgery. Did not play that well at all. Had a couple drops on the receivers. A little bit of miscommunication here and there. Then we're going to go to the Cardinals. They won against the Saints last week. Kyler Murray looked good for the better part. Hit Marvin Harrison for a touchdown. Deep ball on the right sideline. But it was a very close game against an extremely underwhelming Saints team. They were able to keep pace with them all game long. Spencer Rattler hit Juwan Johnson dead in the hands in the end zone, and he dropped it. So a lucky drop saved them from going possibly 0-1 or possibly going to overtime and either winning or losing in overtime, whatever the case may be. So this game for me is going to be a toss-up. I'm going to stick to my guns and go ahead with the Carolina Panthers. They were able to win last year late. Definitely a solid game from Bryce Young. But Chuba Hubbard was the big story in that game. Had 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner, where he's basically playing hopscotch on the way to the end zone because no one can bring him down. You have to run the football if you are the Carolina Panthers. You've got to give that rock to 30 and see what he does with it. You can still throw the football. You got to mix it up a little bit better. I understand you're down pretty much a majority of that game. But at the same time, you got to have some type of balance in there. Got to start fast. Got to start I got Carolina on this one. Going for the upset.
Okay. Ryan, Cardinals are a 6.5-point favorite at home. Again, just like the Lions. What are your thoughts on this game?
I think the Panthers are in a lot of trouble.
Okay.
Just in the season in general, they have the 5th easiest schedule among all 32 teams, and I only see them winning 2 or 3 games. Maybe the Saints twice, the Dolphins, but I don't know. I'm not huge confidence in that offense. I think Bryce Young struggled tremendously. He looked so bad week 1 against the Jaguars. 18 for 35 for 150 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Rushed the ball 5 times for 40 yards. Rushing's fine, but I mean, 18 for 35, 154, and a touchdown's really bad. Like TK said, Xavier Legette was overdrafted last year. I mean, he was a first-round pick. This guy, he had a breakout age of 23 years old in college, which is awful. You obviously you want a guy about 18, 19 years old to break out in college, and this guy broke out his senior year and did nothing before that. That was pretty telling. Usually, guys who break out very late in college do not do well in the NFL. He looked lost. He does not look good. I think that their offense. I think they're really missing Jalen Coker, the rookie receiver out of Holy Cross last year. He's a very, very good player. Chuba's great, but I mean, Chuba is Chuba. We'll see. Last week, Chuba had 57 yards and 16 attempts. I don't see them winning this game really. Kyler's not elite. Kyler versus the Saints, he's 21 of 29 for 160 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not very great, but he does have Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison Jr. on the team. James Conner looks, like James Conner is in elite form when he's not hurt. Kyler's an above average quarterback with the potential to be good. Like I said, I think he's a little immature. Obviously the video game thing still messes with me a little bit. A couple years ago, it came out that he really doesn't watch film. He'd rather just go play video games. And I think even in his contract, there might have been, I don't know if this is true or speculation, but he was basically allowed to play video games whenever he wanted, which is just crazy for a first round pick and a guy who wants to be, the future franchise quarterback. Like I said, but if Bryce is going to play as bad as he did week 1, the Panthers will not win. Give me the Cardinals this week.
Fair enough. Yeah. Kyler Murray with the spare tire approach at the sorry, that's an inside joke on what we got going on the screen right now. Going to video games instead of watching film is insane work to me. I think that a lot of players use both to kind of supplement. I mean, I think you can get a good feel for how to run an offense as a quarterback by playing video games for sure.
I think he's playing Call of Duty though. He's not really even playing Madden. So I mean, so
he's not even on Madden. He's just playing MLB The Show, Call of Duty. That's fine.
The craziest thing I ever heard was when Tyreek Hill said that he would rather play Madden, watch film.
It makes sense to a T.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. We might get GTA 6 before we get Kyler Murray actually watching NFL film. So who knows? It'll be the only thing we get before GTA 6. Anyway, that's the last video game note on the show. I think I'll take the Cardinals as well at home. I mean, I know we keep waiting for Marvin Harrison Jr. to kind of like get going a little bit, right? To show that he could be an all-pro guy, like his dad was. But again, his dad had Peyton Manning thrown to him, so that's a difference.
Right. I think we're wanting a little too much of his dad out of him. Because you got to remember,
that's fair.
His dad for a better portion of his career averaged north of 7 catches a game. I don't think he's there yet. We definitely don't have a type of quarterback for that. We don't.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think you got to give him time to develop. I think that's very fair.
I think the offense is limiting more than the time to develop. I think he's there. He put on 20 pounds of muscle this past season. He's ready to go. I think he's being limited by his offense.
Fair enough. All right, we are going to take, and we'll get to some of the. I'm not going to hit every matchup because it's taking a little bit too much time to get through every game. But we'll hit the Sunday night matchup. We'll hit the 2 Monday night games. We got 2 Monday night games this week. That's always fun. We'll hit those on the other side of the break. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. We're right here on the Inside Edge Network. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back. All right, and we are back on. I can't unmute your mic, Ryan. We are back on the Inside Edge Network, Cleveland Browns NFL pregame show. There you are, Ryan. It's good to have you back. We want to hear what you say. We love your voice, man. We want to hear your opinions on everything. I do want to get to a couple of different matchups before we get to the Sunday night and Monday night games. There are a couple interesting matchups. If you're in the AFC North, right, you want to know what the Steelers are doing. We've got Seahawks at Steelers this weekend. That is going to be a 1 o'clock. That's a 1 o'clock start as well. Steelers are a 3.5-point favorite at home. Ryan, I'll start with you on this one. How you feeling? Seahawks, Steelers.
Yeah. Give me the Seahawks. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba played really, really well. I hate the Steelers. I think Aaron Rodgers was slinging around last week, but other than DK Metcalf, their offense didn't look too great. I mean, Jalen Warren's okay. I think they used Calvin Austin as a wide receiver too. Not really buying it. Seahawks defense is, I keep on saying all the defense I'm talking about are really good, but Seahawks defense is really good. I think they'll be able to limit Aaron Rodgers, limit that rushing attack, and shut down DK. Give me the Seahawks this week.
Fair enough. TK, what do you think? Aaron Rodgers playing Fortnite or anything? Is he watching film? What's he doing what's he doing in the week during the off week or whatever? Not the off week, but during practice.
Well, I would hope he'd have his behind in that feeling room instead of screwed around with that ayahuasca like he does every offseason. Anyway, back to the more important matter at hand. Give me the Seahawks and the over. I expect a much improved performance from Sam Darnold. Thought he got started off pretty well, 16.3, 150 yards. No touchdowns or picks. Was kind of a pedestrian game. I do expect the Seahawks offense to go a little crazy if I do say so myself. I do not trust that Pittsburgh defense at all. They got a lot of 2018, 2019 All-Pros on there, kind of past their prime type guys. Definitely think Seattle wins this one on the road.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'll take the Seahawks as well. And real quick before we move on, if the Steelers don't do their status quo, get to the playoffs, lose in the first round, if they don't make the playoffs this year, is Mike Tomlin done there, do you think, or no?
I don't think so.
No.
This guy
coaches since the 60s is wild in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm sure that I hear all the time that Pittsburgh fans are sick of them. They want to do more than just make the playoffs or even just go above 500. But I would die to stay 500 every single week for the last few decades. So I don't think they should fire him. But the Steelers are dumb, so we'll see.
We'll see what the Roonies do. TK, what do you think? I like Ryan said. As Browns fans, we're looking at what do you mean you're tired of making the playoffs and losing in the first round every single year? What do you what do you mean? Right? But I get it. How you want to take the next step, right? I understand that. I think maybe Steelers fans don't realize what they have, right, TK?
Listen, Mike Tomlin is a great football coach. Let's not get that mistaken. But as more and more time passes on, he is looking more and more like the Black Jeff Fisher every year. With these mitigating records, the 10-7, the 9-8, the 8-9, hovering around 500. He's going to coax as much winning out of his football team as he possibly can. So I don't see the Roonies making that drastic of a change. If they go any worse than 6-11, he might be in trouble.
Okay. I think maybe you could argue that no one's gotten more out of less than Mike Tomlin. Especially over the last maybe 4 or 5 years. I think they keep winning somehow. It doesn't always look good. It's not always pretty, but somehow they get it done. So I don't know. Maybe I'll take the Steelers in that one. I'm not really sure. Who knows? We'll watch the game. We'll see. I took the Seahawks originally. I'm on the fence, obviously.
Seahawks.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, how about Eagles Chiefs? We got the Super Bowl rematch, right? A little bit of interest there. Right now, Kansas City playing at home. And the Eagles are a 1.5-point favorite. I think that's pretty apropos. I think that fits. TK, what do you think? Eagles Chiefs. You pull up the chair for this one.
Definitely going with a repeat of the ass whooping that we saw in early February. Give me the Eagles and the over.
Fair enough, Ryan. Eagles,
Yeah,
Chiefs?
same. I mean, Xavier Worley's hurt. I mean, that running game for the Chiefs looks absolutely garbage. I mean, they had like 4 guys run 5 times each for 20 yards. Like, that's not going to do anything.
No.
This Eagles defense is fantastic. Yeah, they got who is it? Walker's hurt. Or not hurt, out for a game for spitting on somebody.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, that defense is going to be really good. I think the Eagles are going to kick the Chiefs' butt today. So
Mr. Hawk 2 is coming back.
Uh-oh. Fair enough. All right, let's move on from that. Falcons Vikings Sunday night game. Minnesota's a 3.5-point favorite. And by the way, I want to say the Chiefs passing game doesn't look great either. I mean, they're just the offense is a mess right now. They got to fix that. But yeah, let's get back. Falcons Vikings. Ryan, I'll start with you and then go back to TK.
Yeah, I'm going off the spot here, but give me the Falcons. Why not? But JJ McCarthy looked not great the first half. He obviously picked it up in the second half of the game and beat a not very great team. Week 1, I think that the Falcons, they have Bijan run the ball. That's all you need to do. They have Drake London. I know he was hurt. I'm not sure if he's playing this week, but if he does, that's going to be a huge bonus. Darnell Mooney, I think, is playing as well as the wide receiver 2 now. He was hurt, so I think Penix looks fantastic, and I think that the Falcons defense could relatively hold Justin Jefferson to hopefully not just destroy them in the passing game. So just give me the Falcons. Why not? I think Bijan will run all over them.
Okay, yeah, TK, Vikings, Falcons, what do you think?
I definitely think this game can very easily come down to special teams. The Falcons have just recently benched Younghoe Koo as their starting place kicker, and they have signed former Minnesota Viking Johnny Parker Romo to take his place. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Vikings at home. Definitely think it should be a close battle. J.J. McCarthy did struggle very mightily in the first half of that Monday night game, including the pick 6. But he was able to steer the ship, make some huge plays, and eventually get the win in the end. Definitely think he has a solid outing against a pretty good Atlanta defense, but they should be able to hold it together. Minnesota in the over for the win.
Yeah, I was going to say the Falcons are another team whose kicking game let them down in week 1. I did like the Penix run for the touchdown. It was like the replay that he made at Indiana. That was pretty cool. When a guy I guess when a guy makes plays, he makes plays, man.
He looked like a human slinky on that touchdown run. I could not believe he made the end zone off that. That was crazy.
He's doing some yoga, man. Crazy. Yeah, he's flexible for sure. And the one thing I think we all kind of, I don't know if we all did. I don't know how you guys felt about it, but I questioned that pick from the Falcons. When they took Penix and they had the quarterback situation kind of fixed. It was weird, but now I think it's working out. It looks good for them.
I think they saw what they had in Cousins before everyone else did, and they decided to just maybe get a year ahead early. But ended up being, he getting in there last year and playing well. So,
which begs the question, why spend the $180 million in the first place if we're drafting a young man top 10 overall?
Well, I think they signed him coming off his injury thinking he would be something and then realized after they signed him, crap. Yeah. So,
and who are we to tell someone how to spend their money, right? I don't know. I have to blame you. Do whatever you want. That $100 million.
Listen, I'm all for the greater good. If you enjoy wasting money, hey, listen.
Man, I wish I had money to waste.
I'll leave it to it. Yeah.
All right, we had a Monday night double dip this week. I think that's always fun to watch. I don't know. Tampa Bay, Houston. We got Buccaneers, Texans in that first early Monday night game. Right now, the Texans are a 2.5-point favorite at home. I think this is a game that could go either way. I'm not super sold on the Texans and CJ Stroud and everything that goes along with it right now. TK, what do you think?
Going to go ahead and go with Tampa. I thought Baker Mayfield did a lot of Baker Mayfield things last week. He looked really good. Of course, there were times where you question what he was doing. But at the same time, he's able to show you that he is a top 10 quarterback in this league, and you can win games with him. Emeka Egbuka, our Ohio State friend, looked fantastic. 67 yards and 2 touchdowns, including the game winner against the Atlanta Falcons last week. Definitely think the Tampa Bay offense is going to be a lot for the Houston defense to handle. Going Tampa in the over.
Yeah, you got to think Ibuka's role in that offense is only going to get expanded as he goes on, especially after looking so good in week 1. Ryan, what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, we talked about number 1 quarterbacks face off. This is a number 1 versus number 2 in the draft with Baker taking first and CJ taking second overall. So still,
it almost made our list. Yeah.
Give me the Buccaneers. The Texans, their offense looked awful. They did not get Nico Collins involved. Their offensive line looked bad. Stroud looked bad. Their running game. They have Nick Chubb, who I wish was on our team. nonetheless, I think it was like 10 carries for 50 yards or something like that. Nothing great. And Joe Mixon might not even play this year, depending on his injury. So the Buccaneers look great. Like you said, Ibuka looked fantastic. I look for Bucky Irving to play way better this week for the Buccaneers. I think he was emerging as a top 10 back coming into this week and fell flat on his face last week. He did have a receiving touchdown, which I like. Hopefully he just picks that up. I think Buccaneers are gonna hand Texans another tough loss today. So
okay, fair. And then the late night Monday night matchup, we're gonna go out to the AFC West for this one. The LA Fighting Hardballs, no, the Chargers. Sorry, they're the Chargers against and it still feels weird to say the Las Vegas Raiders. It's gonna take me a long time to get used to that. I still wanted Oakland to roll right off my tongue. I will start with you, Ryan, because I think there's an earthquake in TK's place. Hopefully everybody's okay there. But I want to start with you, Ryan. Chargers, Raiders. I think what are the Raiders? The Chargers are a 3.5-point favorite on the road against the Raiders. How you feeling about this one?
Yeah, give me the Chargers. Herbert looked great. The offense was singing. Yeah, Omarion Hampton didn't look fantastic as a rookie, but usually rookies, you can't grade them on their first game in the NFL. I think Keenan Allen looked pretty good. Lad McConkey looks fantastic. They have a couple of decent wide receiver threes in Keandre Lambert-Smith and Trey Harris. And the Raiders, they didn't look. Ashton Genty looked okay. He looked pedestrian. Like I said, I can't judge a rookie off of his first start. But I believe in the Chargers. I think 3.5 favorites is a little low. There's a 46.5 over under right now. I say the Chargers winning by like 10.
Okay. TK, what do you think? First of all, are you okay over there? You okay?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay, all right. Stand in the doorway, man. If it starts shaking again, just stand in the doorway. You'll go outside. You'll be all right.
Had to change my setup a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go with the Chargers. I think now is the time that you're going to see exactly how a Jim Harbaugh football team works. We thought they were going to go down because of the Rashawn Slater injury late in the offseason. Joe Alt sliding over from that right tackle spot going to left tackle. He did not disappoint one bit. Everybody tends to forget that was his natural position at the University of Notre Dame. Trey Pipkins wasn't bad either as their right tackle. With all that offensive line confusion all out of the way, Justin Herbert was able to ball and play freely, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think this offense is a little too much for that Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders defense.
I know, right? I know.
With as good as they looked last week. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Chargers and the over.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers too. Herbert looked silky smooth. And you mentioned Joe Alt. I remember we did on one of my shows, we did a draft show and we talked about Alt changing, from one side to the other, and now he's back. So there's got to be some comfort there for him. But I'll take the Chargers as well. Herbert looks like he is evolving into the quarterback that we all thought he could be, and maybe more. He looks really good. Say what you want about Jim Harbaugh. He knows how to coach a football team. So I got to take the Chargers in this one. So that's kind of around the NFL. We skipped over some matchups. There are, other obviously teams. Everybody's playing week 2. But those are the ones that I wanted to focus on, the ones that we had time to focus on. We've got about a half hour left here until kickoff. So I want to get back to Browns Ravens. More Browns. We're going to be Browns focused here, I think, for most of the rest of the show. And the first question I want to ask you guys as we get back to the Cleveland Browns, going into this game against the Ravens at Baltimore, we talked about the celebration. We talked about maybe the Joe Flacco revenge. There's a lot of storylines, but where is Andre Schmidt's head right now? Man, it's tough to come in as a young guy and to feel like, I'm not going to say he let his team down, but I'm sure he feels like he let the Browns down last week. An easy field goal, easy chip shot field goal. He probably would agree with us. I think he should have made. The extra point is one thing. People miss it. They moved the extra points back a few years ago, and people miss extra points. It happens from time to time. I'm not gonna crush the guy for it, but he missed a couple of big kicks last week that would have made the difference in the game. Now, granted, you say when the Bengals got the ball back, if they had been down however many, they'd have handled that possession a little bit differently, but the Browns had stifled them defensively at that point. Right? So I don't know. Who knows how it would have worked out? But anyway, would have given them the lead late. You would have been much, more comfortable than being down late, obviously. So Ryan, let me start with you. Where is Andre Schmidt's head? Is he mentally okay coming into this one psychologically?
It better be in this game. I mean, he's a kicker. Literally, I'm not trying to sound insensitive, but literally his only job in the world is to make kicks. He could become beloved in this city. I mean, we look at Phil Dawson. We even look at like Dustin Hopkins the first year. Like the guy was a legend. You just make your freaking kicks, man. It's not that hard. Make your kicks or get out of town. At Syracuse, he was their most accurate kicker in school history. 57 to 62 inside 40 yards, which is crazy. Also 199 PATs made. Played in the UFL for one season where he went 19 of 21. I think the only one of the biggest ones he missed was above 50 yards in the playoffs that year, but nonetheless, like not bad. Nonetheless, I think that it would be smart to sign another kicker. I think that maybe we should have signed Jake Moody. I don't believe in Jake Moody, but he was cut. And there's somebody out there, alternatives to bring in, maybe Michael Bagley. He hasn't kicked since 2023, but for Detroit, he made a 54-yard game winner against the Rams in the wild card round and was perfect that postseason. But other than that, like we have Dustin Hopkins, former Browns kicker, Austin Siebert, former Browns kicker, Zane Gonzalez, former Browns kicker, and Justin Tucker. Those are the 4 or 5 top free agents at kicker. So the pickings aren't fun there, buddy. So this guy better just make his kicks. So.
Yeah, I think we all agree we're probably going to stay away from Justin Tucker. What is TK? What's your gut feeling on this? Because does anyone have Phil Dawson's phone number, by the way? But I want to get your feeling on this, TK. I mean, will Schmidt be on this roster for the entire season? I mean, do you think he's going to be here for the long haul? Is he going to bounce back from this?
To be quite honest, I do think the young kid has every chance in the world to bounce back from this. I do believe he will bounce back from this. This for me, I chalk it up to first game jitters, game jits and yips. That's all it was. You pull the extra point, the 36-yarder. Okay, understand that. What Smitty needs to understand is that he's a young player. He's going to have opportunities to make up for whatever mistake it was that he made. But he also knows that it's very shrewd business. You have to get it together. This is something that you have done over 1,000 times. You've been extremely accurate at it. There's no reason to overthink or overcompensate. Just go out there and play your game. He'll be just fine. I do expect him to make it as our kicker for the entire season.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Ryan, to your point, I do agree with you that his only job in the world is to go make kicks. Sometimes I think that's a little bit harder. You look at some of the guys, like I'm going to make a Major League Baseball reference here. Some of the guys that are the best pinch hitters that we think of throughout baseball history don't have great numbers coming off the bench. And there aren't many of those guys who are really good at that role. I think there's something to be said for being cold the entire game, standing there watching, might get a kickoff here and there, unless you're a Browns kicker, and then you rarely get kickoffs. Kidding. But yeah, I think sometimes that may be a little bit harder to stay cold for the entire game and then come out and have to hit a big kick in the fourth quarter. I think you can look at it either way. It's again, your responsibilities are definitely bracketed. You don't have a ton of responsibility there, but it can also be tough staying cold and trying to get
I mean, there are 32 other kickers doing the same thing, and either you're going to make it in the league or you're not. I mean, I'm not here to make excuses. I just want to, if your job is to make the kicks, yes, it's hard to kick in Cleveland. The wind is crazy. The crowd is crazy. Nonetheless, like you made it. Now make the kicks. You made it. Yeah. You are here. You can earn that spot. You can become beloved. Just make your kicks, man. I don't want to hear excuses. I just want to see. I'm tired of always worrying about this position. Just go make your kicks.
Yeah, fair. That's fair. It hasn't been good since Kevin Stefanski's been here. We don't have to go over the numbers, but yeah, the kicking game has been a little off since, and you can't blame that on Kevin Stefanski. That's not his fault. He can't go out and kick the ball, right? He can't go execute for these guys. But it's been rough since he's been here.
Personally, real quick, I just think that the kicker position should be totally eliminated from football in general. So, I mean, I'll stand on that. So,
okay, that could be a topic for another show. I'm willing to get into that. I don't know either way. I don't know how I feel about that. I've heard some people mention it, in the last couple of weeks, especially since last Sunday. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I could get behind that. It'd be interesting for sure, but we'll see. TK, what do you think? Do we eliminate kickers or no?
TK left. He'll be back.
TK left. That's okay. We'll get him back in. TK, I guess TK does not agree with you. We're not eliminating kickers. We're eliminating TK. That's all. That's
all right.
Himself. That's okay. And Ryan, let me ask you. I there's a lot that's been said about this being, Joe Flacco's return to Baltimore. First time he's been back since he left the Ravens. It's a team that kind of moved on a little bit unceremoniously from. Hey, welcome back, TK. How you doing?
Sorry about that.
That's okay. We know you defend kickers with your life. You didn't like that question. You dipped out on us. We're glad you came back. I'm glad, calmer heads prevailed. We're back. It's okay. But I was just asking Ryan, TK, to get you up to speed. Basically, is this a Joe Flacco revenge game or no? Because people say, hey, they moved on so unceremoniously from Joe Flacco. But, I mean, let's not act like Lamar Jackson wasn't the better option. I mean, no offense to Flacco, but we see what Lamar Jackson – I mean, the guy's won 2 MVPs. I don't think there's any shame in moving on from an older quarterback in the terms of NFL to Lamar Jackson, what they have now. So, TK, since you're back with us, is this a Joe Flacco revenge game or no?
To be honest with Joe Flacco, I do not think this is a revenge game at all. More than anything, it's kind of like a family reunion type thing. Okay. He's going back to see his brothers, his cousins, and all those folks, saying hello and things like that. Tim, I think this is going to be just a regular old game. Understandably, he has spent the first 12 years of his career as a Baltimore Raven before moving on with the Broncos and then going to the Jets and then coming to play for us and then the Colts and then coming back to us. So I definitely think it's going to be a regular game for him. I expect a clear head, maybe a little bit of emotions here and there, obviously being part of that 2012 Super Bowl team. But for him, this should be a regular matchup, and he should be just fine.
Yeah, okay. I think there's maybe a little bit of a comfort level going back to the place where you spent a lot of your career playing. It could be good for him. I don't think he's going to have any reservations about beating the Ravens. I don't think he's worried about that. Ryan, I mean, where are you at on this? What are your thoughts? Is it got a revenge game for him or no?
Yeah, I'm with TK. I don't think so. I mean, the guy was traded from the Ravens in 2019. That was 6 seasons ago. I mean, I could see it if it happened in 2020 or whatever, sure. But he's 40 years old. He's an old man on the field now, and I don't think he has any animosity towards the Ravens or Lamar Jackson, especially since he won a Super Bowl with them. Flacco was asked about the relationship with Lamar Jackson this week, and he responded, "quote We don't stay in touch, but we see each other a couple of times a year. I think we put a smile on each other's faces. I enjoy being with them. When we see each other, it'll be like being back in 2018. So obviously, they don't talk too much. We're not best friends, but there's no animosity. Not to mention, Flacco will be inevitably part of the Ravens pregame celebration today. So there'll be a lot of emotions. Like TK said, he'll be with his brothers, his cousins, whatever, those guys who he battled with to win, Super Bowl with. We have to remind ourselves that, Flacco will always be considered a Raven. Yeah, he played with the Browns. He had success with the Browns one year, and he's playing this year. But he won a Super Bowl with them, and he'll always be a Raven legendary player.
Ravens first, Blue Hens next, then Browns maybe, right?
Yeah. That being said, I still think he wants to win the game clearly. I think it would be cool to go out there and, steal a win from his former team, especially but as far as him having a revenge game, I don't think so.
Yeah. I think athletes use all kinds of, psychological edge kind of things to motivate themselves. Maybe that'll be in the back of his head. I don't know how you dislike Lamar Jackson. I mean, to your point, he put a smile on each other's faces. Maybe I'm biased. I really like Lamar Jackson. He's my favorite quarterback in the NFL. Just at least to watch and I just love to watch him operate. Kind of reminds me of they're not the same player, but it reminds me of watching the way Randall Cunningham was so different, with the Eagles back in the day when I was younger. It really drew my eye, and I liked him so much I bought an Eagles starter coat. I had to, it was whatever. I wasn't an Eagles fan, but I loved watching Randall Cunningham play. It was a lot of fun. Same with Lamar Jackson. It gives me that same kind of vibe. So yeah, I don't know how you dislike him, but yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm not sure that's necessarily. I think it's like you said, it's been 6 years. It's a little bit old news. Maybe in the back of his head, that's a motivating factor, but I just don't think that's a storyline really for the game. I've heard some people talk about that this week, and I thought, we'll throw it out there and see what you guys think. As far as the Ravens, I want to ask you this. We talked about them, the celebration, the trying to avoid the 0-2 start. 11.5% playoff success rate for an 0-2 start isn't great, historically. So do you guys expect the Ravens to come out kind of tight in this one, trying to avoid the loss with that in the back of their heads? Or does that loss to Buffalo galvanize them a little bit and they say, let's get this together. Let's go take care of business against the Browns. I don't care who they got. Myles Garrett, Grant Delpit saying this stuff, whatever. I don't care who they got out there. Let's go take care of business. Do you think they're going to get it done, or they come out kind of tight and look a little slow in the first quarter? TK,
they absolutely want to put the pedal to the metal on us, especially after all that greasy stuff that Grant Delpit was talking in the pressers. They definitely want to put the pedal to the metal. I would not be surprised if we got 4 or 5 consecutive Derrick Henry carries to start this football game. I would not be surprised at all.
Okay.
The only way I see them going away from that is if it doesn't work. Now, if
Yeah.
we put up a good fight, they might try to switch it up on us, but they definitely want to hit the ground running. They are embarrassed after what happened last week, and
Yeah.
rightfully so. That never should have happened. I don't care how good Josh Allen is. That never should have happened. And they
Yeah.
want to avenge that as quickly as possible, so I expect a fast start.
Yeah. Hey, as good of a coach as Jim Harbaugh is, his brother is a great coach too. John Harbaugh's a great coach. Terrible with a lead. Not good with a late lead. These leads of 10 points or more, they're not good to John Harbaugh and the Ravens. So keep an eye on that. If the Browns can somehow, get a lead. That's funny.
We've done it before.
No, we have. We absolutely have. Ryan, what are your thoughts on that? I agree with TK 100%. I think they're going to come out with their hair on fire, like you said about the Browns. I think Derrick Henry's going to be seeking out Grant Delpit, getting to that second level on a run. I think they're going to come out motivated. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I expect the Ravens to come out swinging, like maniacs this week. I think that it could have been a game that they possibly would have overlooked if Grant Delpit and Jerry Jeudy wouldn't have, talked a little bit of trash. But that being said, I expect Derrick Henry to have a revenge game from last week. He found the ball late in the game, which I said, and it gave the Bills a chance to win the game last week. And I think that, along with Delpit's comments, he's gonna be just a huge problem today. So.
Okay.
The Browns are going to have to fix the drop passes. I did want to mention that. Do you think it's just kind of week one jitters for Jerry Jeudy dropping 3 more passes, or is this kind of is this an alarming growing trend with him, Ryan? How do you feel about Jeudy and drop passes?
The boy had 13 drops last year. He might be coming for 15 to 20 this year.
Yeah.
Don't say it. Don't say it. I don't want to.
I hope it was first game jitters. I don't know. If the ball hits your hands, you need to catch the ball. Nonetheless, if the ball hits your chest, you better catch that freaking ball. There's no excuses. Just like the kicker, your job is to catch the ball. Go catch the ball. We can't afford to lose games because the ball is bouncing off your receivers and into the defensive hands. That cannot happen. Flacco played well enough to win that game. We should have won that game. Catch the freaking ball. Done.
He throws a catchable ball. I can't have Jerry Jeudy turn into Braylon Edwards on me. I can't see that happen.
Right.
I'm terrified of that.
I don't think we're going to reach that territory. That was ridiculous.
That was
2008.
It was a dark time in Browns history, TK. That was a rough time. Hey, we are here on the Inside Edge Network. It's the Cleveland Browns and NFL pregame show. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. On the other side of the break, we will get into the Browns and Ravens, keys to victory. And I want to get a score prediction from you guys before we get out of here. We don't want to let you get the kickoff and watch the game. So give us 2 minutes, and we'll be right back on the Inside Edge Network. All right, we are back with you on the Inside Edge Network. It's the Cleveland Browns and NFL pregame show. It's week 2, Browns at Ravens. We've gotten into it. Let's talk about you guys want to go Ravens or Browns keys to victory first? What do you want to do? I'll give you the choice.
TK?
Let's do us first.
Okay, let's go the Browns keys to victory. What do you think, TK? I'll let you start since you picked.
All right, key number 1 definitely starts on the defensive side of the ball. You have got to stop Lamar Jackson. You have got to find some type of way to keep him inside the pocket. If you give him more than 4 seconds, you really don't even need to give him all 4 seconds. Give him more than 2 seconds. He's going to find a way to make the play. Got to mitigate his greatness any way we possibly can. Obviously, containing Derrick Henry will obviously be another challenge for us that we would need to complete. I definitely want to say that we need the defensive line to show up. We need the defensive line to show up. That offense put up 40 points. That offensive line, we've already talked about the interior of your line, what we're impressed with. Yeah. The tackles did pretty good too. Ronnie Stanley's going to get a whole lot of Myles Garrett. Roger Rosengarten should be matched up with Isaiah McGuire a ton. We got to have all 4 guys on this defensive line ready to eat today. I expect a lot of rotation too. I expect a lot of rotation with that defensive line. Of ours. I expect to see a little bit of Alex Wright, maybe some of Sheldon Harris, even though he had a rough week last week. Hopefully to get some of those players in there. And we got to protect the seams. We have to protect the seams. Mark Andrews is a very good tight end, as we have mentioned before. Playoff drop or not, we have had our problems with Mr. Andrews guarding this team. Carson Schwarzenegger is going to be asked to do a lot. Devin Bush, Jerome Baker, Mohamed Diabate, we're going to need you guys to step up and make some valuable plays today. We also need the secondary to stay great as well. I just think the biggest one for us, though, as far as the offense, we got to stay balanced. We have got to make plays. You don't want another game with 45 pass attempts from Joe Flacco. I don't care how good he looked. You do not. That's the danger zone.
Yeah, his pass attempts should not be approaching his age or eclipsing it. We shouldn't see that.
Yeah, you're going to the danger zone once you get over 40 passes. So, got to have a definite balanced offense. We need a balanced offense. Want you to protect the seams on defense. We have to focus on the running attack. So those are my 3 keys: balanced offense, protecting the seams, and stopping the Ravens' run.
Yeah, I agree. You got to have fresh legs when you're chasing Lamar around or trying to hit, Derrick Henry with any kind of authority. We're going to have Quinshon Judkins. He was activated. He should play. I don't know how much he'll play today. But again, we talked about running back as kind of I don't want to say the easiest, but it's the least difficult position to kind of get acclimated on the fly, right? So we'll see him in the game today. Don't know how much. Don't know what his usage will be. I'm sure he's in shape and ready to go. Ryan, knowing that Judkins will be here. Do you agree that we kind of have to be a little more balanced on offense? I think that's obvious, but what are your keys to victory?
Yeah, my first one is establish the run game early, hoping that Quinshon can go out there and add a running back room. Sampson did not play awful. He had some great catches out of the backfield, but 30 yards is not going to do it for a running game. Quinshon is the guy who fits in our Stefanski's system well, and I think that Stefanski came out and said he'll get RB2 numbers. He'll be rushing for, I expect 10 to 15 times, unless he goes out there and just shows that he deserves to be on the field. I think they'll open it up and let him run more. You have to limit the mistakes and penalties and catch the ball, cut down on the drops for sure. One big thing today, I think, no arm tackling. Lamar and Henry are going to be hard to tackle already. You need to wrap up your team, help finish a tackle. Don't be diving. Derrick Henry's the big. You got to hold on to that and not let him go. The turnover battle is going to be very important. This defense is going to have to make new stops, get a hold of the ball. Their defense is really good. Their secondary is really good. Mason Graham and Carson Schwarzenegger are going to have a good game. There's a lot on their shoulders as rookies, as TK said, but I think they're up for the challenge. I did want to say one important note. The Bills had a rookie 6th round pick last week at corner, and Dorian Strong against the Ravens in week 1, and Zay Flowers went off. I don't expect Zay Flowers to go off this week for sure. At least to where, I mean, I think Denzel Ward is going to be able to shut down him more than Dorian Strong. So it'll be a little harder for him, I believe.
Yeah, I agree with you. No arm tackles on Derrick Henry. You might lose an arm. I don't think that's a good idea at all. We need everybody with 2 arms on the field. That's going to help. And you gotta catch the ball. You gotta catch the ball. That's important. Listen, make your kicks. It's gonna. I don't know that it's gonna be a close enough game to matter today. I hope it is, but in the event that it is, the Browns have to absolutely make their kicks.
Schmidt's got to come through.
Yeah,
Schmidt has to come through.
Yeah, we gotta be on top of that. Again, balance. I think balance is the key. I think you want to run the ball effectively enough that you don't have Joe Flacco throwing 45 times a game. You don't want that. And if you do have that, chances are you're behind a score or 2 late. That could happen. That you could be forced into that, but you don't want to see that. You don't want to have to. You don't want to be in a game where you're basically 1 score down, 2 points away, and have Flacco throw the ball 45 times. You want to get the running game going. And I feel like if they could have run the game at all against run the ball, yeah, if they could run the ball at all against the Bengals, that would have been a different outcome too. So we'll see. Ryan, I'm going to start back with you. What are the Ravens' keys to victory in this one?
They got to hold on to the ball, and they have to manage time first and foremost. I mean, I think their downfall in week 1 was the last 5 to 3 minutes of the game. Derrick Henry fumbling the ball, as I said many times. Just manage that time. You run the ball, make sure you hold on to it, and just let that clock run down. They're going to have to limit Myles Garrett. Myles will be effective. How can they scheme away from him as much as possible? I don't see Lamar and Henry running, over 50% of the runs towards Myles Garrett. They're going to look to scheme away from him.
Yeah.
They'll have to run the ball down our throats too. In week 18 last year, they ran for 220 rushing yards, and they'll want to replicate that. And they'll also just need to have an effective pass rush, I say, especially if Quinshawn starts off hot, like I think he could. So.
Yeah, I think the fact that you expect everyone to kind of scheme away from Myles Garrett, but I think that's where having Mason Graham and really the rest of the defensive line, but Mason Graham especially, having him in the middle, I think, is a huge asset. Even if, like TK, you said earlier, just nothing else than to take up 2 blockers in the middle and let the linebackers roam free. I think Schlesinger can get down and maybe make some plays on Derrick Henry. We'll see. But I think that's a very that's a viable. I can see that being a situation that we could honestly, whatever, that's believable. I don't know, again, words are hard, but yeah, I think if you can, you're going to team scheme away from Myles Garrett. The Browns know that. But having Mason Graham in the middle, having these other guys on the defensive line, again, fresh legs, I think are going to be a huge thing for the Browns today. You want to rotate the defensive line. TK, you said it. You've got to have fresh legs going against a running attack like the Ravens have with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, and then even if you on the off chance that the Browns overrush and you get Lamar Jackson running around outside the pocket, that's dangerous. But again, you need fresh legs. Maybe hopefully somebody can run him down. Not many teams have been too successful in doing that. But we'll see. And I think you said, Ryan, they got to hold on to the football. I mean, the Derrick Henry fumble was a little surprising. I mean, that was a huge turning point in that Bills game last week. And we'll see. I mean, you would expect the Ravens to have an 8 to 14 point lead at some point in the second half, just looking at this game on paper, forget emotions, cut emotions out as Browns fans. But then, historically what John Harbaugh's done with a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. So maybe is that a good thing for the Browns? Are the Browns even built to come back like that? We don't have Josh Allen at quarterback. We don't have, a super explosive offense, especially without some kind of consistent running game to keep that defense off the passing game. So I think that's going to be a key as well. My keys for victory, I think, score more points than the Ravens. How about that? Just score more points, and we should be fine, right? But again, make your kicks. Please make your kicks. I mean, do that. I think they're gonna have to reimagine their defense a little bit. Just whatever. I think whatever doesn't matter. Before we get out of here, I want to ask you guys for your score prediction. Who's going to win this game? We've already talked about the keys to winning. I want to hear TK. Let me give me a score. Give me a winner and give me a score.
I'm going to go out on a limb and take the Browns and the upset. I'm going to go 28. No. Let's go 30-27, Cleveland.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
Okay, 30-27 Cleveland. You heard it here. We'll see. Ryan, what do you think? Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, the betting line for the Browns and Ravens. Ravens are 11.5 favorite, and the over-under set at 45 points. I'm going to choose the over, but unfortunately, I'm going to choose the Ravens 42-17 against the Browns today. But I do have Schmidt making a field goal. So.
Okay. All right. Nice. I am more aligned with your thoughts on this one, Ryan. I don't quite have it that high scoring, but I have the Ravens winning this one. Unfortunately, I'm looking at like 34-13. I just don't have a ton of. I mean, we'll see how Judkins looks.
Right.
That's going to be first and foremost. I'll say this: when I did pick that score, I didn't know that Judkins was going to be, activated. I didn't know what was going on with that or not. And I don't want to change it too much because I don't think he's going to come in and be a huge difference maker his first time out in the offense in week 2, right, at Baltimore. I just don't know that. But I think eventually he can, if he stays healthy and he can kind of like just fit into the offense. I think he can make himself a difference maker on this offense, because if he can do anything, just half of what he did at Ohio State, along with Travion Henderson, I think he changes the Browns offense all around, right?
That's what he was drafted for. So, I mean,
yeah,
it's going to happen. Hopefully it happens sooner than later. So,
yeah. I mean, if he takes 3 quarters to get himself acclimated into the game, that may be a little bit too late, but that'd be great if he can do the same thing Mason Graham. We talked about Mason Graham playing well in the 4th quarter. If it only takes him 3 quarters, like I said, it may be a little bit too late for this week, but I think it could be positive for the Browns down the road. Yeah. But yeah, I have the Ravens winning this one 34-13. Listen, guys, it's on CBS this week. The game is on CBS. We talked about it. Kickoff is just in a few minutes here. Enjoy the game today. CBS will have Tom McCarthy and Ross Tucker on the call. I think Amanda Balionis will be on the sideline. She'll bring you all the information down from the field level. So we got that. I want to thank you guys once again for watching the Inside Edge Network. Cleveland Browns pregame and NFL, just a pregame show. It was kind of an NFL. We almost went around the whole NFL this week, right?
Real quick, go check your fantasy lineups real quick too. You got 4 minutes. Sorry.
Yes, that's from the commissioner's couch. That's straight from the commissioner's couch. So that's the advice there. But again, we're brought to you by LPV Productions. Listen, week 2's in the books. Please remember to give us a like, subscribe to the pages. You can just comment to help us grow. You can look for us on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on X. We're on YouTube. Just search for Inside Edge Net and look for the logo at the top left of your screen that you see. That's going to be us. Again, thank you guys for watching. We appreciate you so much. What else is there to say? For my co-host, Ryan Mossor and TK Dandridge, I'm Chad Bryan. Like Ryan just said, he said it astutely. Go Browns.